Good evening, I'm Ryan Bonazzo. Thank you for joining us. The repatriation of evacuees from 3 First Nation communities is wrapping up in Thunder Bay today. More than 1,000 people from Poplar Hill, Deer Lake, and Pikangikum were able to return home this week after forest fire conditions improved significantly in those parts of the region. William Dougal reports.
After a month-long stay, the First Nations of Poplar Hill, Deer Lake, and Pikangikum are finally able to return home. The communities evacuated during the beginning of July at the peak of fire season. The City of Thunder Bay hosted the residents from Poplar Hill and Deer Lake, while the Independent First Nations Alliance hosted members of Pikangikum First Nation. Fire Captain Kevin Anderson says fortunately the fires did not reach the communities, but the evacuations were necessary because of smoke, and it lasted longer than usual.
Basically the risk of fire is greatly diminished, and the smoke was the big thing, so that's all cleared up, so now it's safe for them to go back, but there was no damage to their community. The fires were still many kilometers away, so the big factor was always smoke. A little bit longer, I think usually it's less than a month, but around that time, it just took time for the smoke conditions to get better, and we did get some rainfall, so all those factors. But
Poplar Hill residents had all returned home by Thursday, while the transportation of people from Pikangikum and Deer Lake was to be completed by Friday evening. Over 300 members of Deer Lake fit into 9 flights throughout the day Friday, while 70 members of Pikangikum's First Nation were booked on another 2 flights. Roy Thunder, the community liaison for IFNA, says the evacuees are very happy to finally return home.
They're really excited to be able to go back to their home community, to see their families, to see their friends, to see their relatives, and to be in their home community. And I think, after being displaced for 4 weeks, you kind of want to see the friends, the community that you left.
Thunder continued to say thank you to Fort William First Nation for welcoming the Pikangikum community onto their land. William Dougal, TBT News.
Mayor Bill Morrow and other community representatives will be taking part in the annual AMO conference next week. The 3-day virtual event will allow local delegates to meet with Health Minister Christine Elliott and at least 5 other ministers. Morrow is hoping to recreate the excitement of the 2020 Canada Special Olympics in a few years' time. The city is putting in a bid to host the 2024 Ontario Winter Games, which Morrow says would help not only boost spirits, but help Thunder Bay financially and shine a spotlight on the city. Morrow will also follow up on an important request from last year. The city wants provincial support to create a mental health and addictions crisis center similar to the work that's being done at the Balmoral Centre.
It's having a huge impact on our police, on our paramedics, on everybody that has to respond on a 911 basis, including fire. So it's hitting us on a variety of levels. So we really need help. We really need support. This formal proposal has been in for about a year. We're hoping it will get some traction on it.
Morrow expects an announcement soon about mental health and addictions for northern communities, though he's not sure if that will impact the city's request for the 40-bed facility. An electrical issue was discovered this morning at Heath Pool in Westfort, causing the facility to shut down until the problem could be repaired. The popular community pool was closed for several hours while people waited outside the gates for it to reopen. City staffers were on scene checking pool conditions, while Synergy North crews worked on the electrical lines and transformers outside the facility. City event supervisor Louisa Costanzo describes the effort to get the pool back open.
Teams are working at it diligently to get it up and running as quickly as possible. And other services are open. Windmill Pool is available and the beaches are available. People are looking to take a swim today, although it's a little bit chilly, but if you are, those services are over there.
Heath Pool did reopen around 3 o'clock today once the electrical problems were taken care of, allowing pool users to come back in for a swim. Well, the city is predicting a learning curve for local drivers and pedestrians with the first multi-lane roundabout roughly a month away from opening. Anyone interested in learning more is being invited to a public education session on site next Saturday. Corey Nordstrom has more on that.
Navigating the city's soon-to-be-finished roundabout at Edward Street and Redwood Avenue is going to be a new experience for many Thunder Bay drivers. That's why on the afternoon of August 21st, an education session will be held 1 block south at the corner of Edward and Churchill Drive.
You'll pull up in your car to the intersection. We'll have city staff on site with a series of iPads. So if iPads pass you, or you can watch through your car and an informational video of how to drive through the roundabout.
Pedestrians, including those with vision and hearing impairment, can also show up during this session from 11 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and after the learning portion, the new intersection can be tested.
You can learn how to make a left turn, a right turn, a U-turn as well. The through movement will be restricted because work is still progressing on the north side, but you'll kind of get to do the more complex maneuvers there and see it for yourself.
Although roundabouts by nature reduce the severity of crashes, Miedema says it's good to give residents some practice, especially since the new roundabout is more complex than the one at Marina Park.
The Marina one has 3, this one has 4, and this one also has 2 lanes because Edward Street is a 2-lane road. So you still will have 2 lanes of traffic on the north-south for Edward. And Redwood is 1 lane, so the east-west direction to the roundabout is 1 lane. So it's a multi-lane roundabout, we call it. It's a bit more complex than that one.
The roundabout is slated to be open around mid-September. Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
For the first time this week, there are no new COVID-19 cases today in the Thunder Bay District or Northwestern Ontario as a whole. The Thunder Bay District Health Unit still has 6 active cases, and the total pandemic case count remains at 3,351. The Northwestern Health Unit isn't reporting any new cases either. There are still 4 active cases in its catchment area and 1,106 total cases overall. A 35-year-old city man has been charged with possession of child pornography. Police say they were alerted to the possible illicit activity back in June by their cybercrime unit. That led to the search of a Kenwood Avenue home on July 8th and the seizure of several electronic devices. Child pornography was found on one of the devices. Thunder Bay's Adam Leslie McDonald was taken into custody this morning. He's been released pending a future court appearance. Climate activists from Thunder Bay held a protest this afternoon outside a local bank. They want to stop the development of the controversial Enbridge Line 3 pipeline, which has seen billions of dollars worth of funding come from Canada's 5 largest banking institutions. Kurt Black has the details.
As the Enbridge Line 3 pipeline nears completion in Minnesota, concerned citizens here in Thunder Bay took to the streets to voice their concern with the role that Canadian banks are playing in funding a project that protesters say could have disastrous impacts on the environment. Some estimates project the pipeline would add 193 million tons of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, the equivalent of 38 million additional vehicles on the road. For climate activist Kayla Moore, it's imperative for changes to be made before the damage to the environment is irreversible.
To see that the banks, instead of just giving lip service to green initiatives, to actually putting their money where their mouth is. Actually putting our money where their mouth is.
According to opponents, since 2016, the Big 5 Canadian banks have pumped nearly $50 billion worth of financing towards Enbridge products. Something Moore says must change if these institutions truly care about green initiatives.
What we need is the word to get out about how important it is that we make these changes now, because we're continuing to lay the pipe, to move the oil, to extract it from the earth, and while we're trying to get every last drop of profit, we're affecting the climate on a global scale.
Officials from the Scotiabank branch declined to comment on the protest. Kurt Black, TBT News.
Last week's Hometown Heroes Charity Golf Classic, hosted by local NHL star Carter Hutton, turned out to be another very successful fundraiser for the George Jeffrey Children's Foundation. About 100 golfers hit the links at the Fort William Country Club on August 5th, raising more than $50,000. The online auction portion of the fundraiser came to a close last night, raising an additional $5,600, bringing the total to nearly $60,000 for the foundation. The George Jeffrey Center provides assistance to area youth living with physical, developmental, and social needs. Foundation Executive Director Cindy Levanto Kawahara is thanking all the sponsors, golfers, and volunteers for their incredible support.
Pretty cool stuff there, have to admit. Thank goodness, Fiona, that golf tournament